I was 94 years old when I decided to stop fighting the dark, but the night I almost didn't wake up wasn't peaceful. It was a reckoning. They tell you that growing old is a grace, a slow fading of the light, like a sunset over a calm lake. But they lie to you to keep you quiet. It is a theft. It is the slow, methodical stripping away of everything you thought defined you, until all that's left is a skeleton of memories, and a heart that beats out of habit rather than hope. That night, the air in my room felt thick, like water, and as I laid there, I realized with a terrifying clarity that I had spent 7 decades building a life on a foundation of a single, devastating lie. I closed my eyes expecting the end, almost begging for it, but the universe has a cruel way of forcing you to face what you've spent a lifetime running from before it finally lets you go. The silence of a house at 3 in the morning is different when you're 94. It isn't the silence of peace. It's the silence of an audience waiting for the final act. I could hear the house settling, the wood groaning under the weight of years, much like my own bones. My breath was shallow, a thin thread connecting me to a world that had already moved on without me. I remember looking at the shadows on the ceiling, cast by the street lamp outside, and seeing the silhouettes of everyone I had ever lost. My mother, with her hands smelling of flower and lavender. My brother, who never made it back from the thick mud of a war we've all since forgotten. And Martha. Always Martha. We spend our youth thinking we have time to fix things. We think apologies are like coins we can save in a jar and spend whenever we're ready. But the jar breaks, the coins scatter, and suddenly you're staring at the ceiling, feeling your heart flutter like a dying bird, realizing that the person you need to speak to is long since buried in the cold earth. That night, the weight of the things I never said became a physical pressure on my chest. I felt my pulse slowing, a rhythmic ticking that grew further and further apart. I wasn't afraid of death. I was afraid of the ledger being closed while it was still dripping in red ink. I had been a good man by every public standard, a provider, a steady hand, a pillar of the community. But as the shadows lengthened, those titles felt like ash in my mouth. I remember the smell of the room vividly. It smelled of old paper, antiseptic, and the faint, lingering scent of the peppermint tea I'd had before bed. It's strange how the senses sharpen when the body starts to fail. I could feel the texture of the linen sheets, rough against my papery skin. I thought about the day I bought this bed. Martha and I were young, full of a reckless kind of ambition that only the young can afford. We thought we were buying a place to dream, not a place to wither. I wanted to reach out and touch the empty side of the mattress, but my arm felt like it was made of lead. I was drifting. The edges of the room were blurring into a gray haze, and for a moment, the pain in my hips and the constant ache in my lungs simply vanished. That's the trap. That sudden absence of pain feels like an invitation. It feels like a door opening into a warm, brightly lit room where you don't have to be tired anymore. I started to let go. I felt my consciousness receding, pulling back like the tide before a storm. I thought of my children, now gray-haired themselves, and my grandchildren, who look at me with a mix of love and pity, as if I'm a fragile relic they're afraid to break. I thought about the secret I'd kept since 1958, the moment I chose my pride over the truth, the moment I let a man take the blame for a mistake that was mine because I was too cowardly to lose my standing. I had lived a long, successful life built on that silence. And as I hovered on the edge of the great unknown, that silence felt like it was screaming. I saw myself as a young man again, standing in the rain, watching the fallout of my choices. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to tell him that the house, the cars, the respect of the town, none of it would matter when he was 94 and gasping for air in a dark room. I wanted to tell him that the only thing you take with you is the weight of your soul, and mine was heavy. I felt a coldness creeping up my legs, a numbness that started at my toes and moved upward with a terrifying steady pace. This is it, I thought. Then something happened. A sound. It wasn't a loud noise, just the soft, rhythmic clicking of my old dog's claws on the hardwood floor in the hallway. Buster. When the nurse came in at 7, she commented on how pale I looked. She checked my vitals and smiled that professional, distant smile they give to the dying. "You had a quiet night, didn't you, Arthur?" she asked. I looked at her, my voice a raspy ghost of what it used to be, and I said, "No, it was the loudest night of my life." She didn't understand. No one does until they stand where I stood. They think aging is about losing your teeth or your memory. But the hardest part is that your memory stays perfectly sharp on the things you wish you could forget. I'm 94. I don't know why I was given another day, or another week, or a month. My body is a prison, and my joints are a map of my failures. But I've learned that the night people fear isn't the one where your heart stops. It's the one where you realize you've lived a long life, but not a true one. We spend so much energy trying to be good that we forget to be honest. We protect our reputations at the cost of our peace. I spent my life gathering things, titles, property, praise, only to find that at the end, the only thing that could have comforted me was a clean conscience, and that was the one thing I hadn't bothered to save for. If you are young, or even if you are old but your heart is still strong, listen to me. Do not wait until the numbness is creeping up your legs to say what needs to be said. Do not wait for the shadows on the ceiling to show you the faces of the people you wronged. The peace of old age is a myth. There is only the truth you have the courage to face, while you still have the breath to speak it. I am writing this now, with hands that shake and eyes that fail, because I have to clear the ledger. I have to tell the story I hid, because the only thing worse than almost not waking up is waking up and realizing you're still a prisoner of your own secrets. I look out the window now, at the trees swaying in the breeze, and I see the world with a clarity that is almost painful. Every leaf, every drop of rain, every passing stranger is a miracle I took for granted because I was too busy looking at myself. Don't be like me. Don't wait for the end to start living. Don't wait for the dark to look for the light. I almost didn't wake up, and in that moment of near death, I saw my life for what it was, a beautiful, tragic, wasted opportunity for honesty. I have a little time left, and I will spend every second of it tearing down the walls I spent 94 years building. It's painful, and it's ugly, but it's the only way I'll ever truly be able to sleep.